So after 13 years plus in e-commerce and helping hundreds of e-commerce brands scale to multiple 6 and multiple 7 figures per year, and having been in the industry for 13 plus years, I want to basically just share the absolute truth about the best meta ad creative that you can use to scale your e-commerce brand. So this is actually off the back of my own success. I co-founded an e-commerce business that does multiple 7 figures per year these days, but that was in 2013, so quite some time ago. And I've been running the ads the entire way through. So I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of turbulent times, a lot of amazing times, and the landscape keeps changing, which is probably the most challenging thing if you're running meta ads to keep on top of, right? And we also get a lot of mixed messages from people in the industry, experts, meta themselves. There's a lot of contradictory information about how to get the best performance with meta. Okay, as I say, it's almost impossible to keep up with all the changes to how the algorithm is actually working, but not even that. It's just also even just the interface of using Ads Manager, if I'm completely honest. And that's, again, having spent 10 plus years at least managing my ads and managing millions over my e-commerce journey as well. So let's just talk about, honestly, real things, like what's actually working well for me. So in my paid ecom blueprint community, where I help ecom brands scale, and I have an up-level mastermind program as well, the one's getting to 7 figures per year, I see a lot of ads. I see a lot of ad accounts. I help them manage them, empower them to actually manage them themselves. So I get a really broad spectrum of what people are doing and what's performing well in each various different niche and industry, all specific to e-commerce, but across the board, people's ad accounts are different. They have their own personalities, and people's industries are different as well. They have its own little ecosystem about what people respond to, what customers are actually buying from what ads. So I guess the first main thing to go over is that that's something that you will need to understand. No matter where you're at within your meta ads journey in your e-commerce business, you need to understand that every industry is actually going to be different. It's going to have different baselines and therefore different KPIs when it comes to reading the metrics. So to take a step back before we actually get into the creative aspect, when we talk about KPIs and metrics, we talk about the customer journey and what those numbers tell us about what needs to be, I guess, fixed or attended to within the customer journey funnel, so to speak. So let's just break this down. So the first part that I look at when I look at any ads performance is I look at how the ads are basically feeding out. How expensive are they to feed out? So that's something called the CPM, the cost per impression, cost per 1,000 impressions. And that basically is a dollar figure that will tell you how expensive it is. Now, during periods like Black Friday and really popular periods, that goes up quite a lot because it's determined by budget and basically competition in that given market. So again, that's going to be industry specific. I've seen some as low as $3, $4, $5 per 1,000 impressions, all the way up to, in the hundreds, to be really honest with you. So that's going to be completely industry specific. The second part of the metrics we look at is how the audience is actually receiving our ads. That's determined by our click-through rates and cost per clicks. Again, everyone's going to have different standards and baselines and basically KPIs. So if that is, let's call it, the cost per click is too high, then that's something that needs to be attended to. It means the ads aren't actually resonating with the audience that it's hitting, okay? And then beyond those metrics, we talk about the pixel data. Now, we know that there's discrepancies here between, let's call it, fact and fiction about what actually is being reported versus actual real results. That's a topic for another day. But we look at the pixel data, okay? The stuff that comes through that can be tracked, that is in real time. We can look at, are the ads actually converting at that 3% that we needed to, meaning purchases divided by landing page views, for example, okay? So we need to understand that we're getting a desirable conversion rate and a desirable ROAS, of course, but cost per acquisition I'm probably more focused on these days, because that's important to say, well, how much are we actually spending to get a new sales through, right? So that's the metrics and the data. And again, coming back to my main point there, every industry and niche is actually going to have different KPIs or baselines. If it's a highly competitive market like skincare, for example, your metrics need to be higher than someone selling something really niche like fishing shirts, for example, okay? So that's just something to be really aware of. Now, the second part to that, which is similar, is depending on what market you're actually in, the creative and the content will actually vary as well, okay? Like, this is probably not something you actually want to hear, but I'm just about being completely truthful and real, and hopefully this is helpful to understand this. Basically, I'll use an example. So Carmick, our cold press juice company, we've had single images, user-generated content, single images that have worked consistently for years upon years upon years. We've tested other things, we do test other things, but years upon years, a straight up photo of a fridge showing beautiful juices, very clean fridge straight from a customer, has performed consistently at that 10 to 12x ROAS for years. And we've always just tried to beat it. So again, we're talking about baselines. Your better ads as you get winners especially is what is going to help you understand what those baselines are. Okay. So there's different formats. Of course, you've got still imagery, you've got carousel formats, you've got reels, and obviously that dovetails into videos and things. You've got Giphy type images. There's certain formats that you can actually use, and what gets the best performance is actually going to be determined by you. That's the second. The third thing on top of that, and this is something very, very useful and very specific. A good ad has some sort of hook. Now, hooks, something that we talk about, in the marketing space quite a lot. It's about obviously hooking, meaning grabbing people's attention straight out of the gates. So that is something that you need to think about at and look at, and what is specifically going to hook your audience. That's the key. It's less about the actual format and getting really clever with this reel and this format and CapCut this and Canva this, right? But it's actually the fundamentals of marketing remain consistent throughout time and will continue to do so in the future. And so the first glimpse, right? The first, if it's a video, first second to 2 seconds is the hook in the video. Now, again, the hook traditionally we would be like something that you say. Yes, that's absolutely correct. But it could be literally be the environment that you're in. It could literally be the shirt that you're wearing or the display of where the product actually is. Like I said before, beautiful, fluorescent, cold pressed juices, fresh as fresh can be in this amazingly healthy fridge with other, fruits and vegetables. Like that's what is a hook because it's so gravitating. That's what our target audience wants to see, resonates with. That's why it works so well. Have we tried to replicate and duplicate and slice off 1%? Absolutely, but still nothing's worked as well. Even to the point where I've, grabbed my iPhone. I use the iPhone quite a lot just for really simple user-generated content, is opening a bag and again, showing the beautiful juices and just shaking them up a little bit. That's worked really well from an unboxing perspective because it holds people's attention. It's like, what's inside this box? And then people obviously get delivered with content that actually is, oh, that looks amazing. That's fantastic. Again, really holds people's attention. So the hook is actually the anticipation in that case. But there's other things too, obviously, in terms of what you say, what you're showing. Obviously, if we talk about sales periods like Black Friday, Christmas, and end of financial years, etc., the hook is the offer. So it needs to be relevant for the point in time for the person that's actually supposed to be seeing it. Okay. Now, one thing that's worked really, really well during sales periods, this was actually tested by us, but also by a lot of clients in my community, my paid programs, is saying something shocking in a way. And there's a lot of psychology. You should literally just look it up. ChatGPT, the psychology of selling and how to write great ad copy. It's a fantastic exercise to do and an ongoing learning process that I really thoroughly enjoy. And to understand how people think and what they respond to can be an amazing gateway into how you market your business and your products. Okay. But one big thing that this is Kirk in this case had actually said in his videos, I can't believe we're doing this. He had that in his headline. He had that in the first line, but he actually physically said it and it's got captions underneath. I can't believe we're doing this. Now, for any normal person, let's call it 99% of the population, they're going to listen in and basically listen to what he's going to say or read what he's actually going to say. It's a hook. It's one of the key fundamentals of psychological selling and attention grabbing is anticipation. Like, what are they going to say next? And so this is specifically related to Meta, of course, but you can throw it into your emails. What increases open rates? Well, curiosity. Like, what are they actually going to say? What are they talking about? Not get 50% off. Like, maybe that'll work, but it's like, get this amount off or like, a mystery discount or mystery amount. Like, you won't believe we're doing this. You could use exactly the same headline. So that's what's been working really well for Meta ads is emoting that curiosity, holding people's attention for as long as possible, because the greatest currency that people have these days is their time. And so if we can grab that, steal that, use that, leverage that, that's exactly what great marketing does. And that's exactly what great Meta ads do. And so if we're looking at, people's accounts, which we do multiple times throughout the week, people come in and they can obviously get their accounts reviewed and help them see the data for what it is and understand what to actually do next. These are the sorts of things we're looking at, things we're taking notice of is, okay, sure, the data says this, but now let's look at the components of the actual ad, because we know that 95% of the heavy lifting, maybe more these days, is to do with the ad creative itself. Is it relevant for the intended audience? Is it grabbing the intended audience's attention? Is it sending the actual right message in terms of what it's saying through words, but through other means in terms of the visual aspect as well and the actual offer essentially? So we look at every component of the actual ad. And so what's absolutely crushing it right now is, as I say, coming back to the fundamentals of what's going to grab someone's attention. Is it for the right audience in the right environment? Can they visualize themselves there? And does it feel like this is specifically made for me? That is the key to everything. That is what we're getting the most success with in Meta ads these days. And, as I say, there's a lot of talk about the Andromeda and algorithmic changes and this and that and this targeting hack. Fundamentals have always worked. That's how we've been able to maintain 8 to 12x ROAS through the ad account alone, let alone the blended metrics that we talk a little bit about as well. Okay. So look, I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to open up that and say that there's a lot of case by case. Your metrics are going to be customized to you or specific to your baselines. Your content is going to be also the same. What's going to actually hook people in is going to be completely different based on their wants, needs, and desires. And then essentially you've got to be able to split test the different formats about what's going to work well for you and just try and keep one-upping yourself. I'm forever going to be trying to one-up that one UGC image that someone took of their fridge with the beautiful juices and vibrant fruits and vegetables in there. But as I say, now I've got a baseline. We can actually create other content. We can continue to test, but we know that that's what hooks people through their eyes, through the optics. And so we need to be able to, as I say, better that from what it looks like. So that's just hopefully giving you some, real world experience. And as I said, at the start of this video, I just want to give you the truth about what's working and what's not. not, but that's what we're advising the majority of people. So it's a testing, iterative process, but you can take any of those gems that I've obviously shared with you today and just continue to test, keep things simple, go back to the fundamentals, right? The first principles, and what is going to hook them through words, through visuals, through text, whatever it actually might be, to get their attention and drive the appropriate traffic to site. Okay, so look, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, I'd love a like, I'd love a subscribe. I'm sharing videos like this all the time. If you want to know more about what we do, you can click on the link below, find out a little bit more. But other than that, I really appreciate you being here and watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.